So recently I was given the opportunity to start an Instagram account from scratch, which I don't get very often because I, one, have been working with the same people for a really long time, and two, normally when I'm taking over for somebody, they already have a presence that I'm just picking up on. But starting an account from scratch has been very fun. It's been a lot of brain power. And during my time of researching and just strategizing and figuring out what our first few posts should be, I was doing a little bit of research and I could not find anything anywhere from anybody who had ever really explained what your first few posts should be on a brand new Instagram account. So I finally narrowed down what our first few posts are going to be, and I want to walk you through them. And before we get into it, I will just say this is not the only correct way to start an Instagram account from scratch. It's just the way that we are choosing to do it, and I thought it'd be fun to show you. And if we haven't met, hi, my name is Lex. I am the owner of Page Media Co. and the creator of the Social Media Survival Guide, which is this YouTube channel. It is my podcast. It is my guides. It is my templates. It is an experience. You can follow me directly on social media at Page Media Co. and you can find everything else at the socialmediasurvivalguide.com. You know why we're here and what we're talking about, so let's get right into it. So as I was going through this process to really narrow down what our first few posts should be, I realized that there are a lot of specific questions you need to ask yourself before you start planning these posts out. So I'm going to list some questions out that you should just take into consideration that you might want to alter these posts a little bit, or again, just kind of adapt to your business and your strategy specifically. And then I'll also tell you which ones apply to the account that we are actually starting from scratch. So first things first, is this business brand new? Has it already launched, or are you in the process of launching and just setting up the account beforehand? Do you already have some sort of following on another platform or an audience even in real life that you can expose this Instagram account to? Are you a physical location or are you solely online? And kind of the same thing, but do you offer physical products or just done for you services? Okay, so the account that I am starting from scratch is an already established business, meaning they have an audience and a clientele that we can expose this new account to immediately to start following. They did have a previous account that we can now advertise this new account on. They are a physical location and they only offer done for you services that you have to go in person to get. They don't offer anything virtually. And again, the answers to these questions will depend. It's going to depend what type of content is feasible for you to put together, but I'm going to dive into the 5 posts that we are going to be making first on this new account, and hopefully it will help you plan yours. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to post is going to be telling the story. We are using a trending audio to tell the story of how this establishment came to be. We are talking about how their team all met each other and kind of who everybody is just in the journey of where this business started to where it is today. We're also really establishing what the mission is with this account and the business, and we are also really solidifying what the values are so that anybody who comes across this account while there is only one post on there will be able to absorb all of the information that they need at once. And I think regardless of what your business is, this should always be the first post that you're making. Okay, the second post, we are going to be introducing the team. So the way that we are doing this is I had one team member ask the same question to all of the different employees, and all of the employees answered and gave a little bit of insight about why they chose their answer. It's showing a little bit of their expertise, but also a little bit of their personality. So we aren't doing this to like a trending reel or just like a carousel post. We are doing this with them all answering a question individually and then mashing it up into one video. With this post, we are really, again, introducing who everybody is, what their specific expertise is. We are building trust with this audience, either the current audience or the new audience, and starting to introduce people to the services that they offer, which leads us to the third post, which is actually showcasing the services. This is an establishment that offers a lot of different services all under one roof. I'm not like trying to be secretive about this account or anything. I just am trying not to like put somebody's whole marketing strategy out there. But if you follow me on Instagram, I do share a lot of the behind the scenes and very frequently tag these people in my stories. But post number 3, we are starting to showcase these services. So there again is a bunch of different employees who all specialize in a different area. And what we are doing with this post is again showcasing each of their expertise and introducing people to the services. We are not necessarily promoting them. We're just kind of introducing them and explaining them because there's a lot of them. It's a type of business where somebody wouldn't necessarily go in knowing exactly what they need. They would be relying on these experts to guide them in the right direction. So again, just showing a little bit of who everybody is and who you can expect. If you call and ask a question about a specific service, you know that that answer is coming from that specific person. The 4th post is going to be what to expect on your visit. So again, this is an establishment where you would go maybe have a consultation and book your appointment for another time time and receive the treatment at a different time, or you could go in for your consultation and have the service right away. So we just want to show people what to expect. So with this, we're doing a video where I'm starting on the outside of the building, filming the front of it, and then filming myself walking to the front door, opening it, going into the suite, showing that the front desk person will greet you, and then showing the little lounge area where you can hang out and wait for your appointment, and then showing that your expert will come out and grab you and then bring you back and walk you through everything. So just again, letting people know what to expect. I am somebody who I Google menus at restaurants before I go there. I look up if there's parking at places before I drive there. Like, I like to know what to expect. I don't like surprises, and I know a lot of other people are like that too. So especially with this establishment, it can be something that could be a little like queasy, or somebody might be a little nervous going into it. So I don't want somebody to worry about that. I want them to not have to worry about, where do I park? How do I find it? Which suite number is it? How do I know where to go once I get inside? Like, I want them to know everything there is up until the point where they start their actual service. And then tied into that post, we are walking people through how to actually book an appointment. So this would be, I guess, considered a little promotional, but the main focus of it is giving that tour, letting people know what to expect. And then post number 5 is going to be a little bit more behind the scenes and just showing a little bit more personality from the team. So we're doing this with the trending audio, where you basically choose this or that. And we're having the whole team choose their this or that. Again, just showing a little bit of their personality, letting people know what to expect when they get there. And now that I'm reading this list, I'm realizing that I actually have 6. So the 6th post that we will be making on this account is going to be testimonials and social proof. So this, I think, is one of the most important, but I also think that it's not necessarily one of the first posts that you should be making. So the way that I look at it is, starting an Instagram from scratch, you're not necessarily going to see a ton of conversions right from your very first post, and you're not supposed to. Your goal should be to start building that foundation, starting to introduce yourself, letting people understand what your products and services are. That way, once you do get a little bit more established, you do have a little bit more content for people to scroll through, then you can start adding in a little bit more of that promotional. I also wouldn't necessarily want somebody else's face to be on the feed before we introduce all of the team members, which is why I'm saving this 6th post for number 6, because it's literally just a speaking video testimonial and a before and after picture from somebody who's had a good service here. And that post really is focusing on the social proof, but also showing that before and after is, again, kind of promoting their services. Everything is very fluid with these first few posts. I'm not necessarily assigning one job to each of them. My goal over this week of posting these first few posts is to, again, just start building that foundation, starting to build the trust with their current and new audience. I also want to throw in there that we are doing a separate Instagram story strategy. So our first few days of stories are going to be a mix of expanding on these posts and, again, just updating what the highlights are going to be, breaking down what the services are a little bit further. So it's important to remember that, again, this is just one piece of the puzzle, even when it just comes to your Instagram strategy. And again, it's important to remember that your goals and your funnels and your business is probably set up very differently than this. So just make sure you're taking all of that into consideration before you start scripting out what your first few posts are going to be. Now, the best way to actually create and post this content is going to be completely up to you. We are choosing to use a mix of trends and original audio talking videos. I highly, highly recommend, if you can make your first few posts, definitely just use speaking on camera so people can get an idea for who you are and, again, start to build that connection with you. But I think there's definitely a ton of ways to make this content. You could do carousels, you could do, again, a lot of trend, you could just do photos. But I think as long as you are focusing some of your first few posts on the ones that we talked about in this video, again, mixed with a solid overall marketing strategy, you will make a great first impression on Instagram with your new account. Make sure you check out my podcast episode this week from the Social Media Survival Guide podcast. I will link it in the description, because I'm diving even deeper into the overall strategy that we are taking with starting this Instagram account from scratch and why we are even doing that. Again, I talk a little bit more about this over on Instagram and on the podcast, and I will link both of those below. Let me know in the comments if you try out these posts or any questions about what your first few posts should be, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!